Dude, you hustle at 7:03. Hey, go, let's go. You wanna go? You're presenting manager. How can you go? Right?
No.
Go do your thing. Hurry up.
You give me 2 minutes.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
Ready to start here in about a minute or 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Yeah.
Not one of
I
those.
think there's some chairs in the. Okay. Go right back there and.
Gotta get
Have one of those laptops that are painful to carry around.
Yeah. That encourages
Absolutely.
better laptop
Well, no,
etiquette
but
'cause
then
it
you
just
only
looks
take it
awesome.
when you're sure you're
Right.
Yeah.
It's about the only exercise we can.
Who else rode in? Oh. I see
not
3
the only
bikes out
exercise.
there. Who else
It's
rode
pretty
in?
hard to find
Me.
a bag for
You rode in? You rode your bike?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Where's the other guy that rode in? Oh, you? Yeah. Oh, cool. We all 3 rode our bikes today.
I don't get very many opportunities to ride anymore. I just had a kid, so.
Oh, dude.
laptop.
I think my kids, they just graduated high school. And for the last 2 years, I've been like an Uber driver to them. Hey, bud, how's it going? Good. I mean, I have not been able to get on the bike at all. Now they're finally, they're getting to go to college. They have friends that are driving a little bit. I still drive them around way too much, but it's not as bad.
CC's got really hot. You can tell.
No. CP's got really hot way before that. I remember when we didn't have heat sinks on them.
Well, yeah. Isn't like there was such a point there where
Well, I just got rid of, I have a CBR 600. I also have a Yamaha FZ09
Yeah.
running today. And I just got rid of the BMW 850 100 GS.
I remember laptops that,
Really
if you had it on like that, that's pretty
pretty
big.
big.
yeah.
Range.
It's,
You
yeah,
can make it hot, but
Yeah.
you'd be worried about
Usually like I was a
scorching
Honda
the
guy.
metal.
On the, really small one.
The counter. Really
I've
good.
only been on a sport bike a 600, once before. And I was shocked at the difference between that and a 125 cc. It was like, oh man, this really is a rocket.
it's cool. Yeah, I made the mistake of getting the 600R first. It's my starter bike. And,
They really are powerful.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's really, but the FZ09 is awesome as well. It's just a really, really
Some
great
of these
engine
lights turn off or
with a really crappy suspension,
Oh, wait,
really
I'm
crappy
sorry.
brakes, really crappy transmission.
They turn that more than
It's
this.
amazing just how much technology goes into it. I mean, it's, I forget how much the prices are, but they're pretty obscene. I mean, when I see it, it's like a car.
The FZ09 is actually real cheap.
Is that it?
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Is that too much or?
Because I've seen them, like a BMWs are like 25 grand.
Oh yeah, yeah.
28
the,
grand.
The
So,
S1000R, yeah.
We're gonna get started without Thomas, man.
Light a candle.
Almost murdered me.
yeah.
So
No, what she demands to go shopping for something she wants.
my wife's not a big shopper. She likes saving money.
That's what they
There
always
she
say.
is. There you go.
No, she really doesn't. She doesn't shop much. I'm like, go out and buy some new clothes. She's like,
Keep do this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make an appearance.
My wife's phenomenal. I lucked out hardcore. She deserves something.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. You guys want to grab
As long
a
as you know
seat?
that, she's happy.
Got a lot of new faces here.
Lots of excuses.
Glad everyone's remembering the #1 rule of SDPHP Bike Club. You do talk about SDPHP Bike Club. Welcome.
Yeah. So we're giving something a try today. We're gonna try streaming this meetup, see how it goes. Well, he's not gonna be fantastic, but we'll make progress.
Yeah, the video won't be that great either.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Eric, by the way.
I'm Tom.
It's been hold your applause, please, for later. A couple ways to stay in touch with us. We have an sdphp.org website that Thomas likes to keep up to date for us. Most of you probably know us through the meetup.com. We do have a Twitter account that we try to keep a pretty steady stream of, if nothing else, when our next meetups are. We have Facebook that people post to. IRC, Slack, come join us.
Yeah, IRC is pretty quiet, but the people who attend meetups do just hang out and say nothing in there. So if you've got questions, need quick answers, it's not a bad place to go. Slack has a sign-up process to it, but it's not too bad. So if you want to hop into the Slack PHP channel, just hit up the sign-up page and it'll give you all the instructions you need.
We have a bridge between the Slack and the IRC, but it's flaky. It doesn't always work. So
Yeah, links make it crash.
we have job postings on the website. These are just what happens to be up there now. So if you are looking for a position, be sure to hit us up. If you do apply for any of these positions, and some of these people, feel free to reach out to myself, Thomas, or John, the other organizer, if you're interested in any of these positions. Most of the times we know a lot of these companies and we've been talking to them. So if you want to apply for them and you have some questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you do apply to one, let them know you've heard about their position through us. We don't get anything for it. It just kind of reassures them that their word got out and we were able to send somebody their way.
Yeah, and it's a good sign for you that you're involved in the community events. Companies usually want to see that somebody's involved in SDPHP because they're interested in language and want to become a better developer. So it doesn't hurt you either to say, I was at the PHP meetup and this is what I found. So Wednesday, we have an intro to SQL and PostgreSQL
That's August 10th, next month,
next month.
downtown.
Well, you're doing that one, so.
So we have 2 SDPHP meetups. You're so good at this, man. I'm so happy I'm your wing guy. So we have 2 SDPHP meetups now. We're running them, running each SDPHP meetup every month. So our next downtown meetup is August 10th. It's going to be an intro to SQL with PostSQL, Postgres. So looking forward to that. Next business.com meetup will probably be the following week, usually the following Tuesday.
Usually the following Tuesday, just gotta clear that. We're still looking for presenters. You don't have to be an expert. If you have something interesting you're working on or interesting that you've seen, go ahead and hit us up through our social media channels. Let us know that you want to talk and knock yourself out. We don't judge and we got a good group and I think everyone wants to learn. So if you've got something to say, let us know.
We also host a San Diego Laravel user group if you're interested. That's the 4th Wednesday of the month. So downtown SDPHP is the 2nd Wednesday of the month. North County SDPHP is the following week. Sometimes that's the 2nd Tuesday, sometimes that's the 3rd Tuesday, depending on the month. And then the 4th Wednesday of the month is San Diego Laravel. And this month we're talking about a quick start with Forge and Spark on AWS. That the Laravel meetups are typically streamed. We host at a place called Carry.net, and they have the whole setup. They have a nice little mic and everything. Occasionally we run into issues with the streams there, but if you follow Carry.net on YouTube, you'll get the stream.
And slides do always get posted on the SDPHP and SDLog websites. So slides are always available. Just to incentivize you, another little piece, if you present once a year, you get an SDPHP pint glass, unless you run the meetup, in which case you just always have them in your truck.
Some shameless self-promotion. Myself, Tom here, and John have started doing a PHP Ugly podcast. We've been going for a while now.
We've
We're
got 19 episodes down now.
coming up on episode 20. So we record once a week, usually Thursday night, and then I edit it. I can typically get it published by Sunday or Monday morning. So it's just us rambling and talking about things we're working on, things in the PHP community. We talk a lot about the meetups, the people who spoke, the meetups that are coming up, things that are happening in our local PHP community.
Yeah.
So give us a listen. And
What people were wearing, whatever I was talking about. That one time,
Pokemon
like
Go
halfway
became a big
through.
topic the last time.
Yeah.
So much.
And it's terrible, so don't go into it expecting a whole lot.
And we've been streaming. So there's 2 versions of this. If you happen to catch us live, we've been streaming lately. and those are terrible. Like they're us rambling for like an hour and a half. Then I usually get it edited down to about 30 to 40 minutes of actual decent content.
Yeah, it gets about 50 minutes in before John goes, okay, well,
I'm good at
It's-
that.
my kid's crying
And our
again.
sponsors.
Huge thanks to business.com and Perch.
The facility now, they cover the food, the drink, everything. Website. Yeah. Zito.media, they're our sponsors downtown. Diego Dev is the little company that myself and John run. We take care of a lot of other things. PHP
T-shirts.
Storm, are you giving away licenses? I don't know how that's working
I'm
out.
supposed to clear that with John, and,
Yeah,
and
we have,
we've got a number today that meets needs.
well, it's not by number anymore. Hey, welcome.
That's right.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, okay,
So we'll run a PHP Storm giveaway, and we'll give the license to whoever the winner is. Later in the week, I'll run that through John and make sure it gets done.
no, we'll do it tonight. We'll do it tonight with everybody who's RSVP
Okay,
and
I
then,
don't know how to get the license.
I do, don't worry. Don't worry about it. I got you, brother.
Undermining me.
No, I'm over top of you this time. All right, so I'm gonna get out of your way. Thomas has a great presentation here on hacking a website. I'm really hoping he's not using any of my code again, because that was embarrassing the last time.
Yeah,
And
and pictures. It's all pictures for me. All right. So this is actually a modified version of the presentation I gave a little over a year ago. But I've thrown in a lot of horrifying details for everyone to take a look at. I am not a hacker, in case anyone asks. So,
And you would admit it if you were.
if I were, I would. Double obscure. So, today we're going to be looking at a very specific set of concerns. This is a PHP meetup, so we're going to be looking at PHP. What this means is we're not going to be looking at hacking as a whole picture. If you want to see that, watch Mr. Robot. Seriously, also just watch Mr. Robot. Has anyone not seen it yet? Yeah, seriously do that. I'll tell you, as somebody who is not a hacker, that is the most accurate depiction of what hacking is actually like currently. And it's also really fun.
Is it a film? Mr.
It's a TV series currently.
Oh, TV series.
USA. Yeah. Really good. So, what we're looking at is application security. I'm going to throw in a little bit of server security just because it's the kind of thing that I know a lot of people here don't think about and are running. PHP has a lot of independent developers and some business owners, so I'm just going to scare you real quick for one little page. But primarily we're looking at application security. So, our areas of concern here are unchecked user input, which means cross-site scripting, XSS and CSRF, SQL injection, and general inappropriate data. We're also going to look briefly at poor implementation. Okay, so we've got incorrect access control, the lazy programmer, and the smart programmer. And finally, just on the small server maintenance side, we're going to look at system commonality. So we're going to look at footprinting, how that works, wide spectrum attacks and why you need to be afraid of them, and zero-day vulnerabilities, what a zero-day vulnerability is and means to you. Who knows what this is? Yes, that's MySpace. It's also XSS. Okay, so this is what MySpace is supposed to look like. And one of the things that MySpace was famous for was that you could go to some other website, copy a piece of code, and paste it into your profile, and it would make it look like this absolute garbage. there was a guy named Sean. There's a guy named Sean who realized that that button where it says add to friends in the bottom, all it needed was a click, and now that person was your friend. So he wrote something that kept his page looking exactly like this, but clicked that button for anyone who visited his page. And it copied that code to their profile. Within 24 hours, he had 1 million friends. It's a self-propagating worm that started on a single user's page who had no friends. The first person hit it, exponential explosion. This is the face of XSS in
Just a little known fact, that guy's actually from San Diego. My wife knows him.
that.
Does
And
he have
it-
any? Does he
His
have
name
any
isn't
friends?
Sean.
Does he have any real friends?
A lot of people.
The guy who like,
the MySpace worm guy.
yeah. So he's from San Diego.
Yeah, he created an account just for this. It was innocuous. All it did was screw with MySpace statistics. Didn't do any harm. That doesn't mean it couldn't have. I mean, if you can add a friend and modify their profile, imagine what else you can do. Also, will be imagine what else you can do. So, today's threat, because we don't really see this in MySpace and Facebook and stuff like this anymore, is just that someone's going to get script onto your page. Now, all of your browsers in a modern environment are running XSS detection. So if they see this string in the get bars or the post bars, and they see it in the source code for the website, then it just gets kicked out of the website. It doesn't get run. There's tricks around that because every browser's implementation is different, and if you keep up with the news, you find out what the new trick is to get around that, and you get around it. But this is the threat, is that they're going to run something that we don't want to run from a domain that we're not on to get data from our users. Now there's three ways of doing this. There's the persistent type. So this is the MySpace type, where he put code on his profile where when someone hit his profile, it executed and did something negative to their content, did something bad. The second type is a phishing attack, and this is the one that we've all become really familiar with because this is the most common one nowadays, where you get emailed a link, click the link, and it shows you dancing hamsters, and you close the link. But what you've done is install a browser toolkit that has completely rooted your system and taken over your bank accounts and your PayPal accounts and email accounts. Then there's the sort of more rare DOM-based attack, where they give you a link and you believe you're landing on something trusted, but they have subverted the trust of where you're landing. This is often called spear phishing. So when you have a target and you know what they're expecting to see, and you can replicate what they're expecting to see, then you can send them something that's exactly what they expect to receive. Click on it and they'll see exactly what they expect to see, but they'll receive something completely different. They'll be sending their information to you. Man-in-the-middle attacks, stuff like that. Use this kind of technique. So, that's where the previous presentation ended. But that's where this one begins. So, what we're going to do is look at XSS attacks. So, this is a really, really simple form. The code for this form says, hey, if there's a name variable in the get, and say, hey, welcome, name. Otherwise, ask them for their name. Okay, and then a continue button that just runs window.close. Really, really, really simple. Now, all of the examples I'm going to be showing you here are the most simple form of these examples. The thing you need to be aware of is that this lingers somewhere amidst 10,000 lines of code. Somewhere in your 10,000 lines of code is a field that you just didn't check well enough. So the result of this is if I say Tom, it says, welcome, Tom. But if I receive an email that says, hey, thumbs up, Tom, check this out. It says, click here to log in and check out what I sent you. It says, welcome, Tom. That's strange. I don't remember the thumbs up in my username. Let's see what that is. You'll notice that I'm running on target.app. And that image is running on images.techtimes.com. You know, hot linking right now is so prevalent on the internet that a browser couldn't just say you're not allowed to hot link images. So yeah, you can't send script. If I sent a script tag along with my link, which by the way is Tom image source equals, that's it. That's the whole attack, right? But we know well enough that an image isn't necessarily an image. It could be a PHP file. It says, someone clicked your link. They're visiting the page you told them to visit. If this were an exploit, if there were something wrong with the browser you were running, then it would say, someone clicked your link and it's this browser. And this browser is vulnerable to this bug. So I'll get to cherry pick which bug I'm going to send to the browser. Because I'm hitting content and forcing the page to load. So just by displaying this image here, which I don't have to display this, I'm displaying this for the sake of example. A single pixel is invisible on the page. So I click the link and I see welcome Tom and a picture of puppies. Isn't that a cute thing that I shared with everybody? No. It's a severe vulnerability. You cannot allow the users to just send tags through get bars, post bars, anything like that. You have to sanitize your data.
Isn't there also a referral? Like, I mean, you're collecting information, right, by having somebody hit your site asking for the image.
Yeah.
As the fisher, you can also delete something you refer.
Which we will do. Yeah, so this is this is how it starts. We get all the way into it later. So that's XSS. It's just sending a phishing link, sending the wrong thing. Now I could embed that in my profile, so when people saw my profile, they saw that image come up, it redirects off-site, and now things that I don't want out of my own hands are out of my own hands. Again, there's the two main types, phishing style and embedded style. So the question is, do you have a giant website, a real website with lots of inputs, lots of code that handles inputs? How are they going to find the one out of hundreds of thousands of inputs on your website that's vulnerable? It's B, the Browser Exploitation Framework. So this is a really simple tool that says, hey, what do you want? What do you want to happen when they hit your phishing link? You select things, it generates the code, and you just paste that in an email. Right, so if I were targeting somebody's website, I would use this tool to go through their website, find every input that you could possibly find, go through the sitemap, find everything there is, figure out the vulnerability, figure out where they're not checking 100%. And then, once I get in, I want all their cookies. I want their session data. I want everything I can get about them. I want to put in a cookie that can't be deleted. And I want to track them around the web for the rest of time. This just gives you a copy and paste. Really shockingly easy. Open source software, download it, updates every day. It's got all the newest vulnerabilities in it. This is what people run. So, payloads. I can make it so that when they click my link, instead of the thumbs up guy, or Vault Boy, this is what they see, right? This looks like the Facebook login. This looks like the Adobe Acrobat update installer. Neither of these is actually what it says it is. This is all injected stuff. You click on install, it's going to give you an executable to download. You don't have to worry about vulnerabilities at that point. If you've got this image to pop up, they're intentionally downloading a file on their machine and installing it. So you as the website developer are responsible for this. If this shows up on your website because you didn't secure your inputs, you're responsible. You can be sued. And you don't want the hassle that it is even if you win the lawsuit. This is the guide, how to use Beef. Installation, configuration, interface, right? Just it's a user manual for how to hack something, how to gather information, how to socially engineer people, which is a topic that's not even in this conversation. How to discover networks, using Metasploit to discover inputs. Tunneling for security's sake. So tunneling, which tunneling is not even a white hat reason to use the tool. Right? Does everyone know white hat versus black hat? White hat is hacking your own site, checking for your own vulnerabilities. Black hat is doing it negative, hacking somebody else without permission for the sake of personal gain. Tunneling is just for the sake of obfuscating your tracks, making sure they can't figure out who it was that ran the XSS vulnerability in the first place. XSS raise, that's where it finds all the inputs everywhere. And persistence, figuring out where the code you can insert gets saved to. So this stuff, it's open source, and it's really, really important tools for white hat pen testers, for people like us who are developing websites on the legit side. But this is also the same tool they use on the black hat side, so you need to be aware that it just takes a couple button clicks for someone to run a scan of your system without you knowing. So the question is, how do you stop this? And I'll say, first off, this slide is incomplete, because how you stop it is you run it. You know what the tool is and you run it against yourself. That's the very first step. The next step is strip tags. Built-in PHP function removes tags from any input that you run it against. Essential. So this turns into this. The next is HTML special characters. So if you need to keep the purity of the user input, you don't want to edit anything out of it, well then it just takes this and turns it into this, which renders exactly what they typed in the first place, but it doesn't render it as executable code.
Is it either or
It's either or.
I usually just do HTML special characters, that's all I usually do.
Yeah. So ampersand LT semicolon is less than, it renders the less than character in the browser,
Yeah.
but it doesn't execute it as a good code.
Yeah, so it doesn't remove the tags, but it just.
Right. And then filter input, which is a more complicated PHP built-in method, and the HTML purifier library, which I'm a huge proponent of. It's very smart. You can tell exactly what you want and don't want. And if you have the time, if you're actually concerned and need certain exceptions to rules, then this is the way to go. So the next is CSRF. So we saw the MySpace page clicking the link that added the friend. And that was actually a two-pronged attack. So that attack was XSS, where he wrote the code to his own profile, and CSRF, or cross-site request forgery, where he submitted a form in the name of the user that was viewing his profile. You could do the same thing here, where somebody clicks a link to a PayPal page and you autofill a form for them. There's a really simple fix for this. It's a CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA's main purpose in their implementation is to slow down automated form submission, but the other added bonus is that CSRF cannot solve CAPTCHAs. At least, sorry. CSRF is not good at solving CAPTCHAs.
Isn't it the user's filling out this form though, and you have malicious code?
fill out the caption for you. If the user's filling out the form, so if you're looking at a type 0 XSS attack, then you have compromised the security of the page itself. So in filling out the form, you're submitting to somebody they don't believe they're submitting to. But in type 1 or 2 attacks, this will handle it. This will prevent type 1 and 2. So will CSRF tokens. A CSRF token is a token generated by the server and kept only on the server, and then passed to the client for a single page. So every page renderer generates a new token. So you can't, it's more difficult to submit something in the name of the user that way. But again, type 0 attacks, just go right through that. Yeah.
I implemented a trick about the token after a presentation last year, and I found a few funny glitches. On Chrome, if you click fast on submit button more than once, it is actually going to send the same page more than once. On Firefox, no, Firefox is smart enough to know if you press your submit button, it doesn't send twice. So I had to add JavaScript code to purposely disable the submit button the first time it's clicked for Chrome, so it doesn't send the second time, because when I would detect a token being reused more than once, I would log out the user.
Yeah.
So the user was getting very frustrated.
That you brought up 2 really good points that I will demonstrate almost at the end of the slides. I'll show you. There's also content security policy. Content security policy is a header sent by your server to the client that says, here's what you can trust, here's what you can't trust. It's not really legible here, but it just says, if I tell you to go to googleanalytics.com and pick up some JavaScript, that's fine. If I tell you to go anywhere else, don't. So you're just telling the browser, here's what I, as the server, trust. This is running as a header, so it's much more difficult to intercept and interfere with. The only problem is that here's your support chart. Yeah, it's not great. CSP is becoming more and more popular. I recommend everybody use it. Throwing a header in front of every page you render is super easy. And if that header just says, yeah, don't run JavaScript from off my site, duh, then that's great. That saves you huge headaches. But don't trust that every user is going to be running what you need to do that.
So if you ask your users to use a browser that's compatible enough, at least if they fill in the form, it's going to stop cross-site execution.
It will help prevent. There is no stopping hackers. That's another thing to be aware that I'll get into. The nature of maliciousness. So users are dumb. These are all things that affect the users, right? Who cares? I'm not a user. The user screws up their own information and gets their profile hacked. I don't care. What about me? What's the problem? Your SQL is the problem. Let's take a look at it. So let's take a look at this code. Now remember, I'm saying this because the code is intentionally bad. Your code should never, ever, ever, ever look like this. This is a login form. Use your username, use your password. First off, you'll notice I'm using request instead of get or post. Right? Request is terrible because it means that if you have a form that you're expecting to be posted, then they can just use a get instead, make it a link. And it says, okay, did you send your username and password? Let's look those up. Let's look up the username and let's look up the password. Again, you'll note that's a plain text password. Don't ever do that. But also don't think that that's not what you're currently doing, because it probably is somewhere in your 20,000 lines of code. So let's connect to that database, see if we've got results. Hey, look at that, there's more than one, so let's welcome that user. Otherwise, let's kick them out. So, let's take a look at what that would looks like. That would use a keyboard. So, oh, I did have a CSRF example here too, just in case. So, well, you got a new password form. So my new password is Tom. It says, congratulations, you reset your password to Tom. Right? But there's also these adorable puppies, right? And if I click them, it says my password has been reset to hacked. That's the same page. I submitted a form in the same user because I put in the code that said, hey, tell the user, tell the page to submit. Simple example. I'll probably get back to that one. Let's look at this SQL injection. So let's do what it tells us to do. Daily Hunter 2. Alright. So select star from users where username is Kaylin and password is Hunter 2. That's excellent. But you can see there's a warning here that says, do not type this in. I think there should be that. Let's put that into a field. Afterward, it says, welcome Tom, and the query says, select star from users where username blank and password blank, or true, or 1 equals blank. That's SQL injection. That's the whole thing, right? Is that if you're not sanitizing your input before you send it to MySQL, MySQL just does what you tell it to. So I can tell it, yeah, log me in as the first person you find, or log me in even if the password's not correct. If 1 equals 1, log me in. Great, right? And yeah, your code doesn't look like this. Really, it doesn't look like this. I swear, I hope to God your code doesn't just do this. But that place where you're sanitizing the password and making sure the password gets hashed and checked, you might not be sanitizing the code. You might be doing this. Or that place where only administrators can enter a product ID for a query. Right? Only the people who work for the company even have access to the intranet. This tool is just for people who you trust. Well, you're not sanitizing that. That would take an extra 5 minutes and it's almost lunch. Or that field that you're pulling from the session. And you wrote to the session, so you know the data's good. So you're not parameterizing your query, you're just pulling it straight from the session and using it. Because you don't need to, because you know your session data is safe. Because you put it in the session, and then you pull it from the session. It's not safe. Yes?
Have these types of attacks been discovered with SQL? We found some vulnerabilities for NoSQL.
Oh, sure, yeah. NoSQL is easier. It's just a key value pair. So everything you send it is a key real value. In this case, our values are being defined as username. If you look at a NoSQL database, same deal. You just say it has a query language. It might not be SQL, but it has a query language. So there's a way of usurping. And to explain it a little further, single quote or true or 1 equals end single quote, right? That works because I'm using single quotes to encapsulate my string, my query here. So I'm passing in knowing that I specifically used single quotes. Or if I needed to, if the query failed execution because I didn't end this correctly, then dash dash says everything after this is a comment. So if I said or 1 equals, dash dash, because the query failed because I was intentionally breaking it, then I can just make the rest of the query go away. the same is true for NoSQL languages, for any single interpreted string. As long as there's a way to comment in a code base, then there's a way to modify a string to be broken in your favor. So, clearly that's bad, and clearly you're not doing it, right? But somewhere you actually are. We'll get to that. So how do they find this? Where does this information come from? How do they find the one field that you're not checking? It's almost the same way as B. SQL map. You can fork them on GitHub. That's your database. You just tell it to go to a website, and it just sits there with a little spinning dialog box that just says, working. It's writing information to inputs, submitting forms, seeing if that information shows back up somewhere else. If it does, then it knows that there's a vulnerability there. So it starts to write further information, says, how far can I push my luck on this input? Until eventually it realizes, well, yeah, this input's completely insecure. If you have an insecure input, you can modify the query to be anything you want to. Right now, MySQL will only allow one query per string. So one query per input that you send it. But there's plenty of ways to cancel a query's execution and start a new query. That new query might be output the entire contents of the accounts table into a text file and send it to me. And I'm not kidding, that's what this is. That's just an input on a form that you didn't secure properly. So fork them on GitHub, try it on your own website, see what happens. Yeah. How do you prevent this? This is the easiest thing to prevent. Okay? Prepared statements. Find parameters, execute prepared statements. Or use an engine like Eloquent, Propeller, Docker. Now, these engines won't stop you from doing things the wrong way. If you think that you've got secure variable data that you generated, you're sure no one can screw with it, then you're going to be lazy and not write that extra line that finds a parameter instead of just writing it in line. Don't ever do that. That'll kill you. That'll be the one vulnerability that dumps your entire database to a user. And when I say it will be, I don't mean tomorrow you're going to get hacked. I mean next week. Because you will. If you have a security vulnerability on your site on this scale, this whole thing's job is just to find it, exploit it, and not tell you about it. So, yeah. I think that's the only meme I actually kept in this presentation. Now, we're going to jump to incorrect access control. This one's really brief. Stay away from the file system, generally speaking. Don't ever let user input touch the file system. This is almost the same as XSS, where you say, oh, here's the user's home directory. You allow them to unlink something that they posted, and then echo and the file. Well, if they put in ... or something, and your IDE or your server interprets ... / has to go backwards and delete one thing. If you're not checking and validating, if your user is running as root, or if your user is running as web, and web has access to all these files, if you let user input set what can be deleted on your system, then anything on your system can be deleted. It's that simple. This is a very broad example of a lot of things that can go wrong when you trust users, which brings us to some scary code. Okay, this is the part I kind of warned a lot of people about. So we're going to look at basic configuration. This is Vagrant. base install of Vagrant, which is running the base install of Nginx, which is casually configured to serve my web page. And I'm going to go to .git/config. Oop, what again? Huh. That's my Git directory. Being helpfully served by my web server to anyone who asked for it. You know what Git stores? Heavy. If you have a website running right now where you did not exclude your Git directory from your deployment, so your site is being deployed, it's including your Git directory because that's how you deploy things. All your passwords, all of your past and present code is visible. That page wasn't a trick. I typed in a base install of Nginx .git/config, and I got the URL to this website I developed for this purpose. The user account I'm logged in as, the merge information, all of it. Now, if I were really good at Git, I could get every historical change that's ever occurred on the website, including my SQL passwords, admin passwords, if there's SQL dumps. It'll actually list files for me. If I go into the .git directory and tell me which files exist in every directory. SVN has a .svn directory in every subdirectory. Now, .git only exists in the one root directory. But SVN exists in every directory. I worked for a company for 2 years before we realized that our root passwords to our system were exposed in a .svn directory on our main website. That was a company with 30 employees. And I was just curious. I was just running a tool against it. Oh, what happens? No one of good repute is just going to the .git directory or the .svn directory and browsing. But this is just an example. This is the config file. There's also your pre-commit, post-commit hooks, all of your server credentials, every change that's ever been in there, DNB files. You're being told to ignore them, so no cache. So that should be kind of scary. And yeah, like I said, SVN is way worse. SVN loves to talk about itself. So, we sort of skipped over clear text passwords, hashing, encrypting, and this I want to go through quickly because I think it's something most people are aware of, but if anyone has questions, stop me, slow me down, say what is that. So, hashing a password is one way, it's fast, and it has moderate security. Encrypting a password is two ways. Bidirectional. So you can encrypt and then decrypt. You can get the old password back. It's slow, comparatively, and it's higher security. Encryption makes sure that what it outputs looks like random. That's the goal of encryption. So why wouldn't you encrypt your passwords instead of hashing them? Well, less secure can be more secure. So let's look at some. Let's go. Let's hash a password with MD5. Someone pick a word other than dog. So, the MD5 hash kitty, then this is what you come up with. This is your password. Now, if I go here paste your MD5, and then just ask it, you typed in, it says you typed in the key. This is how secure MD5 is. It's called a rainbow table. So, MD5 just does a calculation on your word and produces a number out there. MD5, SHA, MD5 hex, Whirlpool, all of these hashing algorithms, they just take an input and make an output that's predictable. With a 7-character password, you're looking at 3 gigabytes of possibilities through an ASCII chart. 3 gigabytes of total actual possibilities. If you've ever done a search on a 3 gigabyte database table, that's how fast it takes, because that's what that was, right? So, I mean, let's keep it under 7. Let's say cat, dog, right? What do you think the likelihood is this site's going to know what that hash equals? So, the likelihood is 100%. This is 100% hash table. For a specific length of password, it has every password hash possible. Every single one. For MD5s, for SHAs, this takes up less than a terabyte. So, yeah, hashing's not secure on its own. Fortunately, we have salts. And we have new hashing algorithms that use folding and enveloping. There's new stuff out there. But if you don't use it, all I have to do is type 4700 and I have all your passwords. Right? I can paste, what does it say, 50 at a time? I'm sorry, 20 non-salted hashes at a time. Or I could generate my own rainbow table, which lets me crack these at a rate of 1 every 0.000001 seconds. Right? MD5 hashes are dead. If you have an AMD video card, you can break hashes at 100 times faster than that. Hashes are dead. Don't use the old hashes. Now, PHP has new hashing systems that seed things. So if I said, right, if I go over here and I say cat, dog, and my website adds a known string, makes my password hundreds more times complicated, right? Still get an MD5, still the same length, but this table would have to be so large to crack it that it simply fails. Or there is the statistical probability of it matching on a different word, but that's entirely different. Salting is important. Use the new hashing algorithms. I just showed you doggy, cat, cat, dog. They were cracked in seconds. Adding a hash made it uncrackable.
Adding salt.
Adding a salt.
But to be specific, it's really not a weakness of the hashing algorithm, because you could take any new one that comes out, and if you're not doing something to change the input, salting it, they can build another table.
The new hashing algorithm that's default to PHP does a very, very fancy thing.
SHA-1.
No, Eric, what's the...
Bcrypt?
Yeah, Bcrypt. Bcrypt is really, really fancy. Too much so to go into at length for a single meetup. But if you use Bcrypt, you're given a certain guarantee of security. Because it's
Right, but if somebody knows what that level is set at,
And knows your salt, because the salt is mandatory for Bcrypt,
okay.
which,
Yeah, how do you protect your salt? If somebody has my hashes, right? Maybe they only have my database and my salt. So if they have code plus TD.
so that gets into the mechanics of Bcrypt. Bcrypt has a cycle up and cycle down time. Encrypting in Bcrypt is
Number of passes.
yeah, it's a number of passes and it's a slower process than decrypting. So you know when you log into your bank's website and it sends you to a really stupid page that says, please wait while we gather your credentials, right? And you think to yourself, what credentials need to be gathered? It's actually running Bcrypt to an nth degree. It's running Bcrypt so many times that it literally takes 40 seconds to decrypt your one entry.
So just trying to maintain that asymmetry of effort.
And that's really what it breaks down to. One of the slides I removed from this presentation was talking about how terrible security is as an industry, because you're always losing. Bcrypt, there's an excellent presentation by John Condon. I believe we still have the slides on the SDPHP website, but Bcrypt is very tricky. And why you would use Bcrypt the way you do is very tricky. But if you use it at its default settings as recommended, you're good.
I'd like to bring up another thing about actually IT security. When you get into rainbow tables like that are predefined, humans typically begin with a character. So dog 1, 2, 3 or something like that.
Sure.
And so almost all of the rainbow tables are designed for the first characters to be alphanumeric. Alpha.
Are they
Alphabetic.
optimized for that, or they actually?
They're optimized for it, yeah, because
Yeah.
most people do that. So if you actually put your salt before and it begins with a bunch of numbers, that really throws it off.
Well, the thing about rainbow tables is they use a thing called rainbow index. And I mean, like if I say, so if I looked up perfect rainbow tables, this is a list of algorithms that generate perfect rainbow tables that have every possible result set in them. And you'll notice some things here. Like let's just look at range of 5s. So the plain text length is 1 to 7 characters. That's your key space. That's how many individual keys you're going to have. The success rate is 99.9 because you've ever perfect. That's a 52 gigabyte file. Adding a single character bumps it to a 460 gigabyte file. Right? Adding another character bumps it up to a 690 gig. Right?
No.
There's two
It's
entries
mixing
for A.
character sets.
Oh, okay.
It's mixing character sets in there, but it blows up fast.
Yeah.
Adding characters. The longer your password, if you're over 13 characters in your password, you're way in outer space. Like the number is huge, and that the goal of salting your passwords is to get your password length over that. Get it into the terabytes upon terabytes area. But yeah, I mean, like, if I wanted to generate this table, I just run this. I run that command, and I wait 4 days. My laptop will make a rainbow table, and then any lookup I want to perform on the text file I have of 1 million passwords will just write to another text file of 1 million solved passwords in about 3 minutes. And yeah, I just use Google search to find those. It's not black market thing. But the question is, still, why is less secure more secure? If I just showed you how terribly insecure hashes are, why is less secure more secure? Who is the threat? The people who keep their eyes on hacking do studies, surveys, etc., and they found that 32% of information security attacks originated from internal employees, while 28% came from ex-employees and partners. So over 50% of attacks are coming from people with privileged access and information. So if you thought your threat was a guy in Russia, you're wrong. Your threat is somebody that you fired a year ago who holds a grudge and hasn't been employed for a while and has been teaching himself how to hack. Your threat is somebody who is embezzling from the company or just kind of bored. That intern who's unpaid and allowed to get coffee for you. Your threat is the people who you give access to, not just the users, but anyone you give access to. 60% of attacks come from people who have privileged access to your company. So when you're developing your intranet and you're like, oh, I don't need to secure that field, it's the intranet. You're wrong by 40% or 60. Whatever. The threat is not end users or external hackers or internal employees, consulting agencies. It's none of them. It's all of them. Every single person who can access your system in any way, including you, I swear to God, including you, is a threat. Because who here doesn't run antivirus software because they know what they're doing? Like, I always install a system like, AVG slows things down. I'm not going to download that file. I'm not stupid. Right? So yeah, you're a threat to yourself. Very easily. That's what spear phishing is. Spear phishing is finding a person and making them a threat to themselves. So your best practices here, do not trust users or administrators or JavaScript or cookies or hidden inputs. Browsers aren't trustworthy. Secrecy isn't trustworthy. Our .git directory gave us up. Secrecy is not trustworthy. Sessions, which we in the PHP land consider sanctified. Write data to it that we think like this identifies the user. It's all the information about them, but they can't get to it. It's safe, good. Don't trust them. Secrecy, top secret.
Do you have some stuff on session?
I might. This is a robots.txt file. Who has it? Who has robots.txt files? What's the purpose of a robots.txt file? Yeah, it tells the search engine, don't index these are secret. Like, as a hacker, thanks. You just told me all the places you don't want indexed. Guess what? I have an indexer, and it doesn't care about robots.txt. So, yeah, robots.txt, totally useless. I do not recommend running robots.txt.
Well, useless for security. The main use for it, well,
No.
For security.
The opposite. I have had a customer say, hey, I clicked on a link in one of your Google searches, and it took me to a page that threw up an error, and I looked at the error, and I'm like, oh, that's weird, Google's indexing something it shouldn't.
okay. I mean,
But
that's the point, that's the purpose of it, is simply to keep from having your server worked over by Google.
Right, but Google
Because it digs
will,
around.
Google
But
will
Google's
do
not-
what it can.
It's a suggestion, not a rule.
Right,
Right.
right.
And the suggestion is to Google, you don't care about these, but Google will tell you what it cares about, and if Google can hack your website automatically, which it totally does, it's terrifying, then anyone can look at your robots.txt and know exactly what their targets are. Step one when you're installing WordPress. Rename WP-admin to a random set of characters and write in your robots.txt, disallow add WP-admin. And then create a fake page on WP-admin that says, login failed to every attempt, no matter what. Keep them spinning their wheels. Now that's still secrecy, but it's better secrecy than robots.txt. If you're using robots.txt, you're telling people where the secret parts are. That's super bad. That's a hamster.
Broccoli, right? That's broccoli.
It's a big hamster.
No, that's a tree. It's
Or
a
small
huge
process.
hamster.
Hamster. This is also a hamster. Hamster's a little app that when you're logged into a Wi-Fi network, just says, hey, anytime you see a session cookie, save it. So anytime someone on this wireless network goes to facebook.com, just grab the cookie while they're going through HTTP instead of HTTPS. And then save it. And save it as a link, so that when I click on the link, you write the cookie to my browser, so I'm logged in as them when I hit the page that they were destined to. Right? This is just a program that you download and run. If you're on a Wi-Fi network that you run, like if I started up a Wi-Fi network called business.com guest with the password business.com and then just put a sign up on a pillar that said, here's the Wi-Fi access. Is anyone else currently logged into business.com? Who's not? But you're on your phone anyways. So here's the issue. Let's buy a pineapple. So it's $100, which is a lot of money. It's powered by USB, and it plugs into a USB port over here, and it says, hey, if anyone asks for a network that they remember, just to see if it's out here, you're that guy. That's cool. And whatever password they try to use, that's fine by me. So if you open up your phone, and your phone is used to logging into myhomenetwork.com with the password 1234, the first thing it'll do is try to log into My Home Network to figure out, hey, are you at home? And then, yeah, it logs into My Home Network because the pineapple says, hey, buddy, how's it going? HTTPS? I'm afraid that's not available. You're going to have to use regular HTTP. The good thing is it requires zero configuration. So if I just bought one now and plugged it in, and you turn your phone on, you're on a network that I own, and I'm running as a man in the middle. Every cookie you send goes to me in plain text. Everything you type in goes to me in plain text. Is that not enough? You're looking for the lock symbol? That lock symbol? That's super easy to fake if you're actually looking for it. The reason this lock symbol exists is because of this device. Are you on a secure connection? Even though I'm saying you're on a secure connection, is your certificate valid? Do you guys know what the little icons you get for Yahoo and Yahoo's website? What's that called? Eric? I know you're paying attention.
What's the question?
The little icon that you can make represent your website.
The favicon?
Yeah, the favicon. Yeah. Representing lock-shaped favicons. That's funny. Representing rainbow. So, you can imagine you see a green locked favicon, and there should be a green locked certificate. Probably not going to notice that well. It's only kind of terrifying. But, fortunately, the cost of entry is $100. Pretty steep. So yeah, when you asked, why wouldn't you trust your sessions? Because I get your sessions.
Right, you get,
I don't just get your cookies. I get to be now.
right, from a, you've hijacked my session, but from like a session data corruption perspective.
Right. So the question
like
is, how does one actually not trust a session? And this, I think, is the biggest lesson I'd like people to come away with from this talk. How do you not trust a session if that's the way that you know who somebody is? And these are things that you're already familiar with, you're just not aware that you're familiar with them. Typing in your old password to change your password. Right? Session hijacking doesn't give them your old password. It gives them access to the page that will let you change the password, but it doesn't give them the old password. So you still have to type it in again to change your password. Changing your email address. Any field that you define as being essential business operation, make them put their password in again.
It's like the example of the Amazon when you want to ship something to a different address, you have to enter your card information.
Yeah. You have to be creative and understand what it is that you're making yourself vulnerable to. But you need to do it from the standpoint that the person logged in sat down at a computer where somebody else was already logged in. And that you're financially responsible for that. Like, yeah.
When you're creating a login to SDPHP, one of the first things you do is regenerate session ID command. So you force a new session, so they can't use the old cookie, right?
Unless they're on your session. If I'm hosting a web server that's just taking your requests and forwarding them using your old
So
session.
they're gonna know, so they're already there. Even if you logged in,
Sessions
the next
cannot be
time they
trusted.
log in, it doesn't.
Never trust a session. I can break a session in 10 ways for every one way you think trusting one more. Sessions cannot be trusted. Identify absolutely. Like, you cannot trust sessions. When a user is performing behavior, if that behavior has financial, security, legal implications, that behavior requires user input to authenticate themselves again. Absolutely. Never, ever, ever trust a session. I will sit in a Starbucks and become 4 of the most famous people in San Diego for $100.
What you're doing is essentially telling it to generate a new session right then.
No, I'm just saying that I need to query the database and validate what I consider secure and user-only information.
Oh, okay, basically, essentially make them log in again.
Make them log in again. Or use biometrics, or use RSA keys, but something that cannot be hijacked in the same way that sessions can be hijacked.
Tom, if you use HTTPS and you generate a single use token.
I just broke HTTPS. My favicon is a green lock,
You're not running HTTPS.
but I am, because I'm the man in the middle, so what I'm doing is receiving a page and then sending that page over HTTP instead of HTTPS to the end.
He's basically assuming that the browser is
Basically using a proxy.
Right.
I can hijack the session in 100 different ways,
Because you need to
all of which break HTTPS, break VPNs, break Tor, everything. As soon as I've got my pineapple, as soon as you're logged in at Starbucks or at home, or
But if your server requires an HTTPS connection,
then I make that HTTPS connection as the man in the middle.
How can you do that?
Just use the man in the middle.
I'm the man in the middle.
You-
You
you
think
can
you're
be-
talking to Facebook, but you're not. I'm talking to Facebook, and everything you type to me, I type to Facebook, except for the things I want to send to Facebook.
And the HTTPS connection is with you,
Right,
and you form the HTTP connection with them.
right.
So why isn't my HTTP connection to you showing up on my browser?
because I put favicon that's a green lock. I also warned you explicitly, this connection might not be secure. Do you wish to continue?
Right, your browser's gonna warn you,
It'll
Yeah.
totally warn you.
unless he somehow got
Are
his
you
hands
ever
on
gonna say no?
certificates.
And
Right, like,
it's,
there are system administrators who work for Cisco that are legally obligated to click no when a browser warning comes up saying your connection is not secure. If they click yes, fired. They're gone. They're out of their $200,000 a year job. These are people who cannot fly on the same plane as somebody else with the same certifications as them. But everybody else who gets a message that says, well, this site expired its certificate 2 months ago. You sure you really need to buy that hamster wheel? Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
he's also relying on a little bit of the user not paying attention, because you're gonna get the green lock icon. It's not a real HTTPS connection. It still says HTTP.
Yeah, still says HTTP.
But
Actually,
most
they can say
people,
HTTPS too.
can you?
Yeah, can.
Okay. Well, yeah, because you can establish an HT.
Yeah, I can do man in the middle dual HTTPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because thanks to Let's Encrypt, I can actually generate a secure encrypted connection.
Most browsers will
Fly.
give you like a red thing next to your green.
Not red. Not red.
Yellow.
They'll give you the green lock icon, but not the green address bar. This is a room full of web developers who know web development. Did you know that if you pay for the level 2 security on your certificate, the whole title bar turns green instead of just the lock icon?
Isn't it level 3?
I don't know. That's the point. Is that we are experts in this field, and we are easy to deceive, or to find uninformed.
It's level 3.
Yeah, there's it goes on and on and on. You know, a fully secure web page actually has a green border around the whole browser. Is that true? Or did I just make it up? That's totally the point. The users don't care, won't notice. So I can fake every aspect of what a security certificate will do to various degrees using a $100 device, because by the way, that one device includes all these single manipulations. And yeah, in Firefox, the lock looks different. Well, guess who sends browser types when they're requesting a web page? I can make the favicon look like the specific lock I want it to look like based on the browser it's running. Like, the thing isn't, it's not a matter of, well, maybe sessions are trustworthy in certain circumstances. The thing is, sessions are never, ever, 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 ever trustworthy. Ever, ever, ever. Just because right now I can hack them horribly, badly. Not only that, in the future, we're going to have way worse problems. 0-day vulnerabilities.
Could you install a client-side certificate that the server authenticated?
I could ask the user to, and they do it for me.
Would that help to?
In the scenario he's describing, right, he's intercepting all the traffic to your site,
Yeah.
so he can basically present himself as the user. And there's some kind of rolling key thing.
That's hard. I got a zip. I'm sort of. So I'm just gonna rush through, ask a couple things. The smart developer writes their own code, uses clever code, doesn't document their code, doesn't need to stay informed, gets fired. Right? The smart developer is the one that says, well, if I do it this way, then it works, and I think that's secure, and doesn't look at what frameworks are currently doing, doesn't look at why encryption works the way it does, doesn't see the whole picture. They believe themselves to be smart, which is, as a web developer, our curse, right? But relies on their intelligence instead of on the collective intelligence of the rest of the community. A good example of it is this. Can anyone tell me what this does? My point is that no one can tell me what this does. Okay? Everyone heard of DES encryption and triple DES encryption? This is double DES encryption. The reason that double DES encryption isn't used is because it's less secure than DES encryption. This is a mathematical proof as to why it took several months for people to realize that double DES didn't work and that they needed to do DES 3 times. It's crazy, crazy, crazy complicated stuff. When you're dealing with encryption and you're not a comp sci professor, and not major, professor. If you're not a comp sci professor, don't touch encryption. Just use encryption. Because you won't understand what it's doing or why the historical changes are there. Encryption, I could do weeks of lectures on. It is insanity. It starts with Caesar. And you literally have to know history to understand the Caesar encryption algorithm. It's crazy. Don't touch encryption. Don't be smarter than other developers who've done this before and made frameworks and said this works, trust it. And other developers who said it doesn't. There's a peer review system in coding and its frameworks. Trust the peer review system. The lazy developer doesn't need to sanitize the API. The only people that call the API are other libraries that I wrote and gave to other developers that work with my company. Why would I need to sanitize that? They're only doing the right thing. Doesn't research their topic. Doesn't look into the history of why we're using bcrypt instead of the other current encryption methodology. Doesn't secure the sensitive data. I don't encrypt or properly hash my data because if they get access to the database, then they've got access to the code too, right? So why encrypt it? Leaves the task half complete. This is something that every really good developer I know says they still do. When you get a ticket that says, here's a bug, and you spend a day on the bug, and you solve the bug, and you close the ticket, and you realize you didn't read the whole ticket. So your boss sends it back to you, says, you know it's still part 2 is unsolved. I spent a whole day on it, it drove me crazy. I'm not being lazy, it's exhausting, right? TDD solves this. Write a test first. Write a test to make sure that you meet the requirements of the ticket. Resolve the ticket, meet the test requirements, then close the ticket. Don't be lazy. Doesn't test his software. If you're not testing your software, then you don't know when a small change you make somewhere else influences something somewhere else. Doesn't get promoted. Which is fine. If you're okay being a code monkey and you don't ever want to get into a management position or you don't ever want to get into an architecture position, if code monkey is your thing and you're happy, that's great. I know a guy, I looked down on him for years. He was like 5 o'clock hit, bell rang, out the door. Now I'm working till 7 o'clock figuring out some bug. I'm like, that dude, man, he's always out the door as soon as he can be. He's like, he's never gonna get promoted. And I talked to him, he's like, I want it. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. So it's fine to not get promoted, but you're gonna cry yourself to sleep a bit. I'm a different person. System commonality, we're getting into the hacking servers type of thing here. This is Metasploit. Metasploit is a collection of every single vulnerability that has ever occurred ever on every system ever. It is an automated system. It has its own DSN, DSL, domain-specific language. And that when there's a new vulnerability discovered, somebody writes a script for Metasploit that finds it on a server. Footprints. Footprinting is telling it if an exploit exists somewhere or not. This is Backtrack Linux. Backtrack Linux fits on a single thumb drive, boots on any system, and can exploit any network from anywhere at any time. It has systems for mapping networks, mapping devices on networks, mapping websites on networks, and then once you map them, finding common vulnerabilities, and then once you find the common vulnerability, creating a package that exploits the vulnerability and gives you shell access to the server. This is available for free. It's under 2 gigabytes, fits on almost any thumb drive. I can walk into a computer right now, put it into their system, and start hacking their network from inside. This is super simple stuff. If you care and own a great jumper, you can start pushing the broom around until no one shows up, and then sit down on a computer and put a USB drive in. It's the easiest stuff. The whole network is compromised. This is why you have to encrypt things you consider valuable. It would take me a couple days to really enumerate a large enterprise network, to really figure out where everything is. And once I did that, then watch Mr. Robot, and the whole thing works itself out from there. But it's easy to do, so don't think it's hard, because hacking is easy. Best practices. These are the things that prevent you from getting hacked. Validate on the back end. No. The thing about the best practices, they all sound really dumb, but you have to really stick to them. That's the key. They are common sense things that you have to make sure to always do. Validate on the back end. Sanitize all of your data. Be paranoid. Be informed. Attack yourself. This is the thing that no one does. Like I said, Metasploit on that OS distribution fits on a USB thumb drive. Have you installed it on a thumb drive and then booted off of it on your home machine and just checked if your website's vulnerable? Because it's like 4 buttons to just go like, can I hack myself? And then SVN dumps its brains and they try to hack yourself. Really try to hack yourself. When you're bored, it's terrible. Being informed is key. These are the vulnerability lists. You just say latest vulnerabilities, Google, it tells you what to do. The way the titles for the vulnerabilities work, it just says, here's the software that's vulnerable, here's how you exploit it. Here's the software that's vulnerable, here's how you exploit it. Every morning, the first thing I do is log into my RSS reader and make sure that I don't run any software that's being currently exploited. US CERT and Security Tracker, super easy to use. You don't have to follow them closely. You don't have to know what the latest WordPress vulnerability is, unless you're running WordPress. Then you really need to know what the latest WordPress vulnerability is. Intrusion detection systems. All these attacks are being executed against a system that's not even looking if it's being attacked or not. Intrusion detection systems, like Seagull, will tell you if somebody's trying to hack you. Running these systems looks for bad behavior, looks for negative behavior, gives them a security ranking, tells you to pay attention to. These are the resources. These are the things that everyone should be checking out, hitting the links, making sure they understand what's going on. This is how you get hacked. This is how you hack someone else. This is it. When a hacker is going to hack you, they've read all these. When you want to prevent a hacker, you've read all these. That's the thing you have to do. Thank you, good night. Sorry, we ran super late on time there. So, are there any questions?
When's the follow-up presentation?
TBD. I actually need to use the restroom.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, we'll turn the lights on and I'll come back and take more questions. Because I know there's lots of questions.
So where's your
Everyone's
computer?
Huh?
Where's your computer?